Today in Jerusalem, one of the largest gatherings in Israel's history brought the city to a standstill. Around 200,000 ultra-Orthodox Jews, the Haredim, filled the six-lane interchange at the capital's entrance. Draped in black coats and white shirts, they prayed, wept, sang psalms, raised banners to heaven. But their plea was not to be spared from Hamas rockets or Iranian missiles, it was to be spared from Israel's army. The issue is simple but explosive. For the first time since 1948, the state intends to conscript Haredi men into the Israeli Defense Forces. The Supreme Court has ruled their long-standing exemption unlawful. Thousands of, though it goes back to Ben-Gurion, though thousands of draft notices have been sent out, a few thousand, 3,000 I think, responded, tens of thousands tore the papers up. To understand the protest, we need to understand who these people are. The word Haredi means those who tremble before God. It includes a wide range of ultra-Orthodox Jews who live apart from secular life and devote their days to prayer and study in yeshivot, religious academies supported by state subsidies. And within this world lies the Hasidic movement, originally from Eastern Europe, centered on charismatic spiritual masters, the Rebbes. Their language is often Yiddish, their mysticism exuberant. The more scholarly non-Hasidic Haredim, the Litvaks, follow a lighter, a quieter, more cerebral devotion. Series like Stitzel give us a glimpse into that inner world, family, faith, love, and the tension between tradition and modernity. Many of these groups are anti-Zionist as well. For 75 years they were exempt from the draft. When Ben-Gurion founded the state, he believed the few hundred surviving scholars of the Holocaust should be left to preserve Judaism's learning. But the few hundred have become hundreds of thousands, and the Haredim now form nearly 14% of Israel's population, almost 1 in 5 Jews. Their birth rate, 6 children per woman generally, means their proportion will double within a generation. That arrangement that once seemed benign now threatens the social contract on which Israel rests. This is no longer an abstract argument. After 2 years of war in Gaza and skirmishes on the northern border, Israel's army is depleted. More than 900 soldiers have been killed. Tens of thousands of reservists have served multiple exhausting tours. The army needs 12,000 new troops. The Haredi yeshiva, the Haredi yeshivot, contain 100,000 draft-age men. The maths is brutal. Yet the protest is not merely about numbers, it's about worldview. The Haredim believe that Torah study itself protects Israel. They cite the Torah Magna Matzich. The Torah shields and saves. If Jews are faithful, God will defend them. Forcing a young scholar to trade the Talmud for a rifle is, to them, a spiritual desecration. As one rabbi declared, if they try to conscript us, we will leave the country. Others phrase it more starkly, we will die rather than serve. For secular Israelis, this is intolerable. They see sons and daughters in uniform, while others live on stipends refusing the same duty. Polls show that 3/4 of Israelis oppose the exemption. Even most Likud voters, for them national service is the cement of citizenship. The moment when Jews of every background meet as equals to serve is to belong. Between these visions stands Benjamin Netanyahu. His coalition survives only through the support of ultra-Orthodox parties, Shas and United Torah Judaism. Yet his generals and many in his own Likud faction insist the exemptions must end. Without new recruits, the army cannot function. The coalition is fraying. Both Haredi parties have technically resigned from government, leaving Netanyahu clinging to a minority. This time the crisis may not be survivable. There are voices seeking compromise. Rabbi Yehoshua Peffer of Netzach Yehuda Association argues that Israel must create new paths, units adapted for religious life, economic incentives instead of jail. He warns that the community's growth brings moral responsibility. You have to pay the price of your success. Others, like Rabbi Kenneth Brander of the religious Zionist Torah Stone Network, insist that Halakha itself demands service in a defensive war. For him, this is an obligatory war, one that every able Jew is bound to fight, every able Israeli is bound to fight. But integration is fraught. The army is still a secular institution. Its gender-mixed bases, coarse language and exposure to the wider world threaten the insulated purity of the Haredim prize. Even specialized units like Netzah Yehuda have drawn controversy for discipline problems and allegations of abuses in the West Bank. The attempt to make a religious army risked displacing one division with another. Beneath it all lies a deeper philosophical struggle over what Israel is. Is it a state of all its citizens, a democratic republic of equal duties, or a covenantal sanctuary of faith? The Haredim never truly embraced Zionism. They saw the secular state as a pre-messianic experiment tolerated, not sacred. They pray for Israel's safety, but not for its soldiers. For many, the real defense of the Jewish people is not on the battlefield, but in the Beit Midrash, the house of study. The secular and religious Zionists, by contrast, see military service as Israel's civic religion, the forge of its identity. The Haredi refusal is therefore more than disobedience, it is a theological affront to the founding myth of the nation itself. Today's March of the Million in Jerusalem encapsulates that rift. A teenager fell from a building and died. 50 were injured. The city was paralyzed. But for the protesters, it was not anarchy, it was testimony. We protect Israel by prayer, they cried. The army desecrates us, they said. For others watching, exhausted by war and resentment, it was evidence of a country drifting apart. So Israel faces a moment of choice. To compel the Haredim to serve risks fracturing a community whose obedience is to God alone. To continue exempting them risks breaking the fragile sense of equality that binds the rest. The question, in essence, is whether the Jewish state can continue to be both Jewish and a state, both a house of faith and the republic of arms. The sight of those black-clad thousands praying in the middle of the roar of traffic captured that contradiction perfectly, a people united in heritage, yet divided in purpose. In the words of one weary officer watching the scene, we're all Jews, but not in the same army. And he's sort of right. I must say I have a lot of sympathy for the Hasidim, and I know the community well. And I know members of the Hasidim who are proud Israelis in a secular sense, and I know some who have enlisted in the army. I also know others who would not. And I know many who have either left Israel already, who are going to leave Israel. I also know many friends, Jewish friends, who are worried about whether or not the rise of anti-Semitism across Britain and other countries means that they must leave here too. This is a worrying period, and it's one that I think requires more examination. It's not just about criticizing Netanyahu's government, because the criticisms may not always be based on the same issues. Netanyahu is widely criticized by many people, but that doesn't mean that the people who are criticizing him are automatically sympathizing with the Palestinian plight or opposing the war, or indeed even acknowledging the state of Israel. So it's a multifaceted issue, and I will come back to it if that is wanted. I also find it quite fascinating how the word Haredi seems to replace the word Hasidic in BBC parlance, but they do actually require they do actually refer to two different things, or rather, the Hasidic community is a subset of the Haredi community to a certain extent, but the Hasidic community is the Eastern European ultra-Orthodox community, and that in itself is also subdivided.